Hi everyone, this is a brief 10-minute video to help open your hips. Perfect for athletes, people have to sit at their desk all day long, and even people that are seeking a more comfortable seat in their meditation practice. So off we go. So the first one is to do a few rounds, and you can kneel on your blanket or a folded towel if you need to protect your knees. Half the time the tightness in the hips is what creates pain in your knees. Pull my hair back here. And so you want to pad your knee and not be right on your kneecap. You want to be a little lower. Anytime you're weight bearing close to the knee, you want to be a little lower right here below the kneecap, not right on the kneecap. So you'll come into hands and knees and take a few rounds of cat arch and a few rounds of cat round. Keep your arms strong, keep your belly engaged but not locked. And kind of work into a fluid rhythm with your breath. So a few times here. And you can even make it more circular. You can move your hips side to side a little bit. And then after you've done that for a few rounds, you can sit back toward child's pose. And child's pose is a great hip opener, but sometimes it's hard for people's knees. So you can always take another blanket, or a towel is fine, and put it back here under the back of your knee between your calf and your thigh, and sit back a little. You can support your head with a yoga block or whatever you have, a tissue box, whatever, a stack of towels, and sit back. You're aiming your heels, your bottom towards your heels, and you widen your knees and just sit back a little bit. You can go lower. And if you don't have any knee issues, and it feels like there's no pain when you do this, you can sit your seat all the way back to your heels. Take your feet a little closer, take your knees a little wider. You can turn your head to the right, and then turn your head to the left. And that just starts to open all the way from the back of your neck down to your tailbone. And then inhale and lift up. And then you can come around onto your back, lying on the floor. And with your knees bent and your feet right underneath your knees, find a little curve in your lower back off the floor. So if you have a big curve like this, you're going to try to soften it some, let your front ribs go down. You'll slide more weight toward the top of your sacrum, that long fuse bone at the base of your spine. And if you have no curve, you're going to do the opposite. You're going to tip your sitting bones, your butt bones, down toward the floor and try to create an arch. Not a big one, just a little one. And then take a few breaths, just let yourself soften and relax there. And then one of the first ones that I like, you can, if you can't quite get it, especially for my men, if you'd like, you can take your legs out wide and fully cross up in the air your right thigh over your left. So like this. And then curl up, interlace your fingers below your knee. Hug both legs in towards your chest, and then lay your head back down. Now, if the hips are really tight, you might have to be way over here. And if it's pulling on your neck and shoulders, you can take the towel or a yoga belt, whatever you have, and put it here, right below your knee, and use the belt to pull everything in, so you can keep your shoulders relaxed. I like to brighten the toes, see if you can flare the toes a little. And then you can roll side to side. And that's going to stretch the outer hip, the hip rotators under the glutes, into the glutes, and then a little bit into the inner thigh too. If it starts to catch in your inner thigh when you cross over and you pull in, then just take your knee. This is awesome for the hips too. And make little circles. They can be small circles or big circles. And make sure you circle in both directions. And that'll help oftentimes let the knee relax, or let the inner groin relax a little bit so that it's more comfortable to cross. And then, of course, do the other side. So left over right, draw in, keep it close as you can, and then relax your head and upper body on the floor. Remember, all forms depend on your range of motion, so let your body dictate how far you go into and out of a posture. Make sure you can breathe. Make sure you're not miserable. And then the second one that I like threads off of that. It's called Face Up Pigeon, and you just sit like a guy sits, cross your right ankle over your left thigh, and try not to scoot out with your hips. Try to keep your hips level and solid on the floor. And then you can take your hand and push forward. Keep your foot flexed like I'm doing. like not just loose, but just flex back toward your knee. And then if you can go a little further, you can do the same thing. You can lift up, hug the left knee in, push the right knee away. And then you can arch your low back a little off the floor, and then you can round your lower back a little off the floor. And that gets a lot of different muscles around the hip joint. And of course, always do both sides. So cross over, same thing. You can arch, you can round, either way. Just make sure you can breathe. And do it numerous times. You don't have to hold it a long time. Just, you can switch back and forth. Just try to get the range of motion. The way it all works is do this consistently daily. And then you can place your hands on the floor. Hold your mat if your shoulders are tight, and then draw your belly in and scoop your hips up and lift into bridge pose. Stretch your thigh bones forward, away from your face. Lift your chin. Nice. And then keep lifting your chest. Those of you that have any yoga experience, if you can come up into bridge pose, lift your chest. You can interlace your fingers. Take a breath. And then exhale and come down. And you can do that 4 or 5 times. I love that. That's a back strengthener and a hip opener. There's a lot more instructions that go with that, but just keep it simple and breathe. And then one of the ones I like a lot that helps with the hip is to let the hamstrings open. So you can take your towel or your yoga strap, go up with one leg and out with the other. Keep the curve in your back. Relax. So you might be down here. It doesn't matter. Go up. Turn the foot. Go out. Inhale back to center, or just breathe, and then you can scoot over a little bit and cross it over to the other side. There we go. I've got a wall here, but which is kind of nice. You can rest your foot there. And then back to center. And then here, take a little time with this. Just breathe. You might be here. Really make your feet bright. Spread your toes. Try to keep your leg as straight as you can, because when you bend your knee, it actually takes it out of the hamstring. If you need to, if it's really tight, just back your knee up over your hip and then stretch out that way. That'll keep it nice and long. It takes years to build to this 90-degree plus angle. So don't aim for the angle, aim for the length. That's always important. And then bend the knee, and of course do both sides. And then I like this one too. Just hug your knees in toward your shoulders and roll around. Remember, there's always the circles that we did. We did it with the right, so we'll do it with the left just to lengthen and loosen up the hip. And then you can take your feet. This is called happy baby pose. If you can't get your feet, just hold your ankles. Take the soles of your feet toward the sky. Hold the outer edges of your feet and pull down with your hands as you push up with your feet. This is a really good one. It goes into the inner groins. And then if this doesn't bother your knees, you can bring the soles of your feet together, hold your ankles, and push your knees out wide for a version of Supta Padangusthasana. And then nice and long. And there's so many more, but this is a good start if you do it daily. And then if you're going to sit in meditation, the trick is to elevate your hips so that your knees are no higher than your hip bones. So you might start with a little seat that you build, and you can do it with a number of blankets, and sit up really high. Make sure you're sitting toward the front edge of whatever you're sitting on. And then and you can also put the blanket between the fold of your knee too, or a little rolled washcloth. And then close your eyes and go into the meditation or the seat as sweetly as you can. Thank you so much for your attention. Have a great day.